everyone, welcome to the Coding Channel. Today is the 42nd episode of a Java programming tutorial series. And in this episode, we are going to build the Math Quiz game with a highlight of using the Swing GUI in Java. This and more when we come back. Now, let me read the programming problem that we are going to solve in today's episode. Create a Java Swing GUI application program that will help an elementary student learn the basic math operations like multiplication, addition, subtraction, and division. Your program should generate two single-digit random numbers, let's say 0 to 9, and let the user answer the basic math question. For example, how much is 3 times 9? Now, if the student's answer is correct, display a random response like excellent, very good, a good job, and many others for every correct answer, and generate a new set of random number question again. Otherwise, display a random incorrect response, like for example, wrong or sorry or please try again or don't give up. And let the students answer the same question repeatedly until the students gets it right. Now, count the number of times the user have entered correct and incorrect answers. Set a limit, let's say for example 10 times, on the number of times the user is allowed to enter incorrect answers. Once the limit is reached, display the message game over and let the user choose either to end the game or play again. And apply all the skills that you have learned from our previous episode, especially in dividing the task by creating a user-defined methods that would make your program a cleaner, reusable, and maintainable and user-friendly. So basically, before you can actually solve this type of problem, it's a prerequisite that you already know how to generate random numbers in Java, that you already know how to create and use user-defined methods, and also how to create a Java Swing GUI, on how to instantiate GUI components like the labels, the text fields, the buttons, and how to apply listeners or action event. Okay, so that's the prerequisite. Now here's a sample run of my own version of this math quiz game and how I solve this problem. I already have the version 1.0 in our 18th episode, and this one is the enhanced version. That's why I highlighted here that it's a version 2.0. Now to play this math quiz game, just click the play button, and then aside from multiplication, I added here addition, subtraction, and division. Okay, for instance, if the user has selected this multiplication button, it will generate a random question, multiplication question. For example, 2 times 2. And then I provided here a text box where the user could type in their answer. For example, 2 times 2 is 4. If it is correct, once you press the enter key, the program will generate a correct response. For example, excellent. So this one is random also. Okay, and then as you can see, I have here the counter for every correct answer. On the right side is also my counter for every incorrect answer. Okay, so let's continue. If you have observed that once the user have entered a correct answer after we've generated correct response here, the program will ask you another set of random question again. It's a new set of question. Okay, For example, if the user have entered 6 here, so that is a wrong or incorrect answer. So as you can see, there is a counter here for incorrect answer, and then the wrong, and the question uh, is still the same. Okay, because we want to the students to get this question right before we proceed to another question. For example, 0 times 6 is 0. So this time that is correct. So awesome. Okay, and then um, the student now have the two correct answer. And another new question again, 9 times 0. Okay, if it's 9, that is wrong. If it is 5, that is wrong. If it is 4, that is wrong. If it is 3, okay, sorry, please try again. And then, if you're going to answer it correctly, so 3 correct, and this time around, we now have a new question. So same thing with the addition. Okay, if the user wants to answer addition, for example, 3 plus 8, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that is right. Okay, 5 plus 4. For example, the user entered 20. That is wrong. Okay, another 5 plus 4, 9. Enter. Excellent. Okay, let's move on to subtraction. 5 minus 8, negative 3. For example, negative 3. Enter. Awesome. Okay, and then new question again. 2 minus 5, um, negative 1, for example. That is incorrect. Okay, if the user wants to try for example another operation, for example division, 6 divided by 2, um, for example 2. Okay, sorry, please try again. 6 divided by 2 again, still 6 divided by 2, 7. Okay, still wrong. 6 divided by 2, 3. Okay, very good. 5 divided by 9, 0. Okay, that's right. 8 divided by 1, 8. 1 divided by 9, 0. Okay, awesome. 9 divided by 1, for example, 9. 3 divided by 5, let's say 5. Okay, that is wrong. So game over. Because the user is only allowed to have a 10, to only a 10 incorrect answer. And then it's game over. So now the user has the option to exit the game or restart. If you click the restart, it will go back to the first GUI, which is to play, and now ready to answer again. So basically, that's how our program works. Okay, if you're going to continue this one again, okay, to try another, once the number of incorrect answer, okay, reaches for example 10, so that's game over. If you want to exit, exit means to close the window. Now let's begin creating a GUI from scratch. If you're going to create a Java Swing GUI, the easiest way to do that is again to use the extends and JFrame. And take note, JFrame is a class, a built-in class within javax.swing package. So we need to import. Okay, so if you're using the Eclipse, you just hover on the class, and then automatically it will generate an import statements for us, just like this one. So now have import javax.swing.jframe. Okay, now the main advantage of extending JFrame again is for us to use the methods of a JFrame class for us to have a frame. Okay, but before that, so let me add here the constructor method of this class, math quiz game. So math quiz game 2. Okay, because the plan is I want to put all the initialization of our GUI components inside of the constructor method. So we now have the main method and the constructor method. So we all know that when we execute the Java program, the Java interpreter always finds the main method, not the constructor method. So that is why inside of our main method, we will put here the method call of the constructor method by simply typing new and then math quiz game. Okay, so math quiz game and then 2, for example. So this is just simply a method call to our constructor method. And then inside of the constructor method, we can now use the method of JFrame class. The first is the, let's try to see, okay? We have the title, right? Math quiz game version 2.0. So that is possible by using this set title. Okay. And then for example, we have a math quiz game and then version 2.0 and then semicolon. Okay, another is the set size. Okay, for example, our the size of our frame is 600 and then 500. Okay, take note that the frame by default is hidden. So that is why we want to make it visible by using the set visible method of JFrame class. Okay, and then for example, true. So these are the three most basic methods of JFrame class. So if we want to see the output, if we're going to run, here's now the output. We have the math quiz game version 2.0. Okay, and then the width is 600 by 500, and by default it appears over here, the upper left corner of our window. Okay, and then if you want to again to make this maximize a button disabled, okay, all we need to do is we will add another, the set resizable, make it false because by default it's true. Okay, and then the close button that is possible by using the set default close operation. Okay, so we will just complete it here, set default close operation, and then for example jframe dot exit underscore on underscore close. Okay, we're done explaining this already in our previous episode. So if you're having a difficulty on understanding these methods, I suggest that you watch our previous episode. Okay, so aside from set title, set size, set resizable, set visible, set default close operation. Okay, so what's next? If you want to change the location, okay, you can also use the set location. Okay, you can put it anywhere for as long as these methods are present inside of our constructor method. So set a location. For example, the location is 900 and then 100. It's just the space. Okay, if you want to your frame to appear on this side, okay, so you will need to get the to have a space from the left margin. Okay, so meaning, so this one is the x, right? So x, space from left is the x 900, and then the space from top margin it's 100. So that's why I'm hoping that our frame will appear on this side. Okay, so let's try the set location. Okay, we're going to run again the second time around. So we now have a frame, okay, that appears on the right side. Okay, and then as you can see, the maximize button is already disabled because of set resizable false. And then we can now click the close button and will exit successfully, something like this. Okay, what's lacking is the as you can see, we have the icon here. Okay, now take note, just be careful of using the icon, because sometimes you're having a difficulty to make it appear. Okay, so if you're using Eclipse, okay, as you can see, so these are the project, right? If you're going to add, for example, this Java project, so these are Java projects. So I'm using the math quiz game GUI to Java project. As you can see here, here's my that Java. Okay, now if I'm going to use that icon, Okay, for example, that icon is inside of this one. It's the clip art. What I'm gonna do is just I want to copy this icon and then paste it in the project folder. Okay, just right click and then paste. Okay, something like that. Once you click this, okay, as you can see, there is now a clip art.png. So it's the file name of that icon. Then if you want to make it visible in the title bar before the text math quiz game, okay, we can actually insert that one here. Okay, set icon, that's possible by using set icon image. Okay, and then new image icon, that's the argument. Again, new image icon is a new class. Okay, let me just put first here the file name. Okay, the file name, for example, is clipart.png. Okay, so clipart.png, and then a dot get image. Okay, that's it. And then the image icon, and then import the image icon class. Again, still within the javax.swing package. So far we now have the JFrame and the image icon. Again, let's try to run again. Okay, so as you can see, we now have the icon on the title bar. Then we have the set title, we have the set resizable, we have the set default close operation. Okay, we have the set location. We changed the default location from left. We put it on the right side. Okay, and then the what else? And we make it visible too. So that's it. So these are again the methods of the JFrame. Now the next step is to add the GUI components in our frame, like the labels, the buttons, the text fields. Okay, so we have the play button here, that's one, and labels. And if we're going to click this one, there's another label here, and then the text box. Okay, these are the buttons. So let's try to count first how many labels are we going to need. Will be needing math quiz game 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have 5 labels. So it is possible by using the JLabel. For example, we start from the title label is equal to new JLabel, and then for example the math quiz quiz game. Okay, so that's it. That's how simple it is to instantiate the JLabel. And again, let's try to import the JLabel because there is a built-in class within javax.swing package. We now have the label. Now to speed up our discussion, let me just copy the other labels for the subtitle 1 label, for example, and then for the subtitle 2, for the question label, just like this one. This is the question label, and then the answer label. Okay, so these are the GUI components. Then next we have the text box or the text field. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have 4 text field, and we have buttons here and the play button in so total of 5 J button. How are we going to do that? We just have a button, for example. So let's just have to type in that. For example, play button is equal to new J button play. And then for the multiplication, addition, subtraction, and then for the division, so that's how we instantiate a button. And for the text box or the text field, so that is possible by using the JTextField, and then answer field is equal to new JTextField. So these are again class within a javax.swing package. So don't forget to import. So we now have the answer field. Okay, for example, the size is 10. It's just the width. Okay, the remarks field, we have 15 here, the remarks field, and then the right counter field, and then the wrong counter field. So for example, the size here is 3 and then 3. Okay, another. Now, after the instantiation of these GUI components, it's about time to add all of these GUI components in our frame. But before that, since we have a lot of GUI components, we need a layout manager. And again, in our previous episode, we've already discussed this layout manager. You have the flow layout, the grid layout, and a lot more of layout managers available. But this time, just for to have a simplicity, let me just use the um, flow layout. So set layout equals to new flow layout. Okay. So again, flow layout is a built-in class within java.awt package. So don't forget to import. Then after that, since we've used the flow layout, the first GUI component that we're going to add here will appear first. For example, we want to add the title label, the math quiz game. So we will add that one first. So add, and then for example, the title label. Okay, and then a semicolon. And then for another, we have the subtitle one label. Okay, let me just copy this one, and then I just have to add. Okay, that's it, and then semicolon. So again, just to save time, let me just copy the rest of the code in adding. Okay, so we have the question label, the subtitle, the answer label, the answer field, the right counter field, the multiply button, and then the wrong counter field, the remarks field. Okay. After we have added that one, we can actually check. Okay, let's try to run. So these are now the output. As you can see, that the the GUI needs to we need to put some colors, the background colors, or and even the font. We need to increase the font, just to make it um, pleasing here. Okay, next let's try to add the font. Okay, for example, I have here the font title. I want Tahoma font that bold, and then 58 for the title font. I have a different size, for example, 48 for the question font, and then for the answer font is a little bit smaller. It's 38. And then if I want to use this font and or apply this font in on our GUI components, so we can just put here. Okay, for example, the title label, that set font. Okay, that for the title font, subtitle one label, I'm going to use the question font in here, and then the answer font. So I have three font size, right, for the answer font, the title font, and then the question font. So I've used that in our GUI components, specifically in our buttons, in text fields, and labels. Okay, so let's try to run again to see the sample run. So as you can see, we've already changed the math quiz game here, the size. Okay, so that's it. So far, so good. Now, the next is how are we going to apply the background color? If we want to change the background color, okay, we can use the get content pane. Okay, this one is a method of JFrame to set the background color of our content pane to let's say dark gray. So here's the syntax: get content pane dot set background color dot. So if we're going to run, okay, again, as you can see, it's already dark. Now, if you want to change the foreground color of our text, foreground color of the in our button, okay, we can use the set a foreground method. Let's say you want to put a color blue on our right counter field, okay, and then the question label, and then the answer field. So just use the set a foreground method. Okay, if you want to see the as you can see in our multiplication button, so the color of X there is blue. We have the red, we have the green, we have the yellow. So these are the effect of a set a foreground method. So if there's a set foreground, there's also a set background. Okay, for example, for our multiplication button, add button, okay, if you want to change the background color, for example, black, so set background and then color that black. We're going to run again. Let's try to see the difference. So here we go now. We now have a button with a black background color, and the foreground is a color again blue. Okay. Now, if you have noticed that when I ran the final output earlier, we've seen the play button there, and then the rest of the GUI components are hidden. So how are we going to do that? So now if you want to hide some of the GUI components, that is possible by using the set visible method of JFrame class, and then set it to false. For example, for the right counter field, for the wrong counter field, the question label, the subtitle to label, answer label. Okay, so after typing this code, as you can see, if we're going to run now, so we only have the math a quiz game and another subtitle label that is visible in our frame, and then we will just add one more GUI component here, which is the play button. Since we already have instantiated the play button here, what is lacking is actually we forgot to add that one in our constructor method. So we will add the play button. Just have to copy this one, and then we will add it here. Okay, so that's it, and then let's try to run. Okay, there you go. We now have the play button, but as you can see, we need to increase the size and also change the background color, and then the text color. How are we going to do that? Again, it's very simple by using the set background and set foreground method. So the play button, for example, that set background color dot orange. Let's try to run again. So we now have the play. Okay, what's lacking is the size. So let's try to change the font of our play button. Okay, by using a play button that set font. So this a shortcut, another way of using the font. Okay, if you don't want to declare it here, for example, you can still set the font by using the set font and then the argument instead of the object name. Okay, just type in new and then the font, and then you specify the font that you want, the style, and then the size. So let's say, for example, 100. Okay, so again, if I'm going to run, so as you can see, here's now the play button with 100 size. And by default, the button, once you add that in our content pane, by default, it's visible true. Okay, that's why I don't need to put a visible false. The rest are false, just like the other GUI components here. Okay, and then once you click the play button, so that's another thing. Again, that's already an event. Now, this time around, let's talk about how to register an action event, or how do we handle event handling in Java. Because if you're going to click the play button, okay, supposed to be the output our desired output is to make the other GUI components visible, because we take note that we have initialized it to false. That's why the only visible GUI components here is the play button, and then the two labels here, the math quiz game, for example, and then the subtitle here. So what are we going to do now to register this play button, and to make the other GUI components visible? So it's about time to add action listener. Okay, because the moment you click, there should that is an action event. So that is possible by implementing here an action listener. Okay. So implements, we need to add here implements action listener. Okay. Now the action listener is a built-in class within java.awt.event. Okay, so make sure that you import that one. But take note, every time once you implement the action listener there, okay, and then if you're going to run, okay, if you have an notice that once you click the play button, nothing happens. Okay, it's because we need to first add one more method. Okay, method of action listener. Aside from take note that we only have a constructor method here, and then the main method. So we need to add one more method, which is the method of action listener interface. Okay, and that is the public. We need to override the public void action per. So that's the main reason why we implement that with an argument action event, and then for example the object name is e, or any object name that you want. And aside from action listener, an action listener is an interface, we need also to use the action event here as argument of our action performed method. So that is within java.awt package also. So there you go now. So when we click the play button now, okay, we need to register the play button for event handling. Okay, so that the control now will be passed on to this method, which is the action perform. So all the events will be processed inside of the action perform method. But first, we need to register that specific button or a specific GUI component for event handling, and that is I'm referring to the play button. Okay, so we need to what? To register the play button for event handling. So we can just simply put it here. Okay, before this one. Okay, so that's a play button, add action listener. Okay, and then this, the argument is this referring to this frame. Okay, so once we register the play button now for event handling, so every time we click that button, the control now will go to the action performed. But the question is, what if we have a couple of buttons having that we register, for example, for event handling? So the best solution for that, for Java to know the source of the event. Okay, if you click the play button, what are going to do? For example, we need to specify here by using the if statement, and then we need to get the source by using the get source method, which is also built in Java. Yeah, so we will use the object name here, that source is equal to what? For example, to play button. Okay, so what are we going to do now? Once you press or click the play button. Okay, so again, so after you register that play button for event handling, so Java now will go to this if statements every time that you click the play button. Okay, so the next step is the code that we're going to insert inside of these if statements. And take note that when we click this play button, okay, we want the other GUI components to make it visible in our frame. So that's the first step that we need to do. Okay, so the easiest way to solve the problem is to make all these GUI components set visible true, because again we make it false here, okay, after we have added in our container, right? So it's about time to make it visible true. Okay, if we're going to run this one, okay, so let's try. Once we click the play now, since we registered already, okay, once you click, as you can see, the rest, the other GUI components now are visible, okay, except for this one, the play button. So the play, we don't need the play button now, okay. So we will make the play button now. We will set that visible false, okay. So play button dot set visible and then false, while the rest are true. We're going to run again. Okay, so once we click the play button, there we go. So the play button now is hidden, and we will be needing these buttons now. So our next step is to register, okay, because the next step is we want the user to select, okay, if he wants to answer multiplication, addition, subtraction, or division. Okay, so we need to display the question. Before that, we need also to change the background color of our content pane from dark gray to color that gray to make it more visible. Let's try to run again. So this time we now have a dark gray, right? Once we click the play button, okay, so we want the background color to get a gray, not a dark gray. So by after clicking, so as you can see, it looks like the GUI now is more active, okay, with the gray background color. Now, since we registered the play button for event handling, so we will also register the other buttons and the answer field for event handling. Okay, and that is possible by using the add action listener this for the answer field, for the multiply button, for the add button, for the subtraction, and for the division. And the same thing, since we've used the if statements here, get source is equal to play button, so we will also be having if a that get source, okay, if a that get source is equal, for example, to multiply button, or our object name is mul button, okay. So that's it. We will have this this if statements, okay, and then I will be just copy this one. For example, what if the user click the for example the add button, okay, and then what if the user click the sub button, and at the same time the other one is the division, the div button, okay, the div button. And another, for example, aside from buttons, once the user typed in the answer in our answer field, so once you press the enter key, that's another action event. So we will reserve another if statements here if the user have entered in our answer field. So if either get source is equal to answer field, so what are we going to do? I'm just I just ready all the if statements here. just in case, okay, the user have entered in our answer field, or just in case the user click on the button add sub and div button. So again, this is just basically how we register an event. Okay, first, again, we implement the action listener, and after implementing, we can now use, or we can now override its method, which is the action perform method. Okay, and then we can put all the if statements inside, just to know the source. Okay, so next step is the heart of the problem. Okay, how are we going, if we're going to run again, for us to see, okay, what's next. Once you click the play button, okay, the rest is of the main GUI components are now visible, and then the play button is hidden. And then so the next step is to we already registered this buttons. What's lacking is the code for each button. But let's talk about now the how are we going to solve the problem if the user, for example, just click this one. Okay, before we can generate the question, okay, what are we going to do? So let's try to run again the sample run. Okay, once we after we click the play button, okay, the next uh, step is to click any of these four buttons to generate a question. Let's say, let's start from multiplication. Okay, now for us to generate this question, we as you can see, okay, if you're going to click the add, the subtraction, the division, okay, the only variables there, okay, meaning we need to have at least two digits, okay, two random numbers. So if you're going to apply the skills that we have learned from our previous episode, and for us to also reuse uh, for example, that code, we need to have a separate method. That's the only function is to generate random numbers, single digit, from 0 to 9. And that is possible by having this method. No? We can this is a user-defined method. So let's say public int get a random number, and then um, this time we will call this get random number every time that we need a random numbers from 0 to 9. Okay, and then the return type is int, because we've used here the next int. But take note that before we can have this random, okay, we need to instantiate a random numbers. I mean a random class. Okay, if you still remember this one in our previous episode, the random, and then for example, our object name is random is equal to new random. And take note, random is a class within java.util.random. And then aside from the get random number user-defined method, we need to have a method that set the question. Okay, so for example, we have the set a question string operator. Now what's the use of the argument of the here of the string operator? Take note that we have multiplication, we have addition, subtraction, and division. So that if we pass the that operator, for example, x for multiplication, okay, and then the other string, for example. Now we did this method, the set question. So this method, I want this method to call the get random number, because before we can again generate a question, we need the random number, right? So that is possible by using, for example, I have um, I get random number, so I will call this one and then we'll assign to a digit 1 and then digit 2. Now, I want the digit 1 to be visible to other method as well. So that's why we need to declare the digit 1 and the digit 2, for example, here. So digit 1, okay, outside of the method. Okay, so that one is a you know, the digit 1 and digit 2 will be visible to other methods. You can use that one in math quiz game 2, for example, or inside of the actionPerformed method. Okay, so that's the main reason why we put the variable declaration of these two variables outside. Okay, so after that, we now have the random numbers from 0 to 9, okay, in digit 1 and 0 to 9 again for digit 2. Since I declared a string, a return type here, because at the end of this method, okay, we can have a return type here of type string. Let's say, for example, how much is, and then the random number digit 1 plus the operator, okay, meaning if the user um, uh, click the multiplication button or the addition or the subtraction. Okay, so that's the main reason why we have why we need the argument here in our set question. Okay, so because this is now the question that we want. Okay, how much is digit 1 plus digit 2? Okay, now what's lacking here is that what are we going to do if the user, for example here, if the user click the multiplication button, if the user click the add, the subtraction, the division, for example, okay, I have to sorry, I have two sub button already here. Okay, let me just omit this one. Okay, so that's the next step. Okay, if we're going to click the multiplication button, okay, we will call the set question. And in the set question, we'll call the get random number just to generate random numbers from 0 to 9. Okay, so after that, what's next? Okay, so let's try to put some code here inside of the multiplication button. If the user click this multiplication button, for us to generate the question, we need to set the text in our question label. Take note that the question label is displays nothing, okay, because we don't have any text that we provide here. Because my plan is once you click, okay, the uh, any of the four buttons, the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, that's the only time that the question will appear. So that's why that is possible by using a set text. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, now the set text, okay, we will need now to call this set question. Okay, but since we have either multiplication or division, we need to pass what operator is that? Is it just to multiply? Is it to add or to subtract? Okay, so take note, set question, we there is a what? A local variable operator here. Okay, now if we want to pass an operator, okay, for the set question to know if it's multiplication, it's for addition or subtraction. Okay, so when we before we can call the set question, we need to pass the operator, right, or the variable, okay, with a value of let's say for multiplication. Okay, in short, we need to pass x, for example, for multiplication. We need to pass a plus sign here for addition. We need to pass the minus sign here for subtraction, and then the forward slash for the division. That's the main solution. Okay, and how are we going to do that? Okay, now if we're going to declare, for example, another variable here, oh no, that is, for example, a string. Okay, let's say I have the OP here, or should I say, okay, I will also declare, for example, here a local operator, and then I will assign, for example, let's say X. Okay, so if I'm going to pass X here, okay, if we're going to pass the operator, okay, here, I'm going to pass the operator, I don't know, this one is a variable, sorry. Okay, that's it. If we're going to pass the operator, meaning once you click the multiply button, we will pass the X to the set question. Okay, now the set question here, after getting the random numbers, okay, from get random number method, so we need to have a switch statement here, right? And then, for example, switch what kind of operator? Okay, so like for instance, case. Okay, so case X, if we pass, for example, X here, okay, that's for multiplication. So we need to, what? We need to multiply the digit 1 and the digit 2, and then break. Okay, and then we have the variable of, for example, correct answer for that. Okay, so take note, if you're going to use the correct answer of variable, okay, inside of the set question, inside of the action perform method, okay, so meaning to say we need to declare these variables, it's like a global variables, okay, meaning outside of the method, so that that variable, the same thing that we did here in digit 1 and digit 2, that is also visible in other um, methods. Okay, so for example, we need to have a variable, okay, correct answer. The correct answer is an integer variable that we need to be declare here outside. So int, okay, correct answer. For example, okay, incorrect answer. Okay, let's go back here, and then let's try to continue. What if we pass, for example, another? If we pass plus sign, okay, for addition, so we need to add, okay, and we need to have a plus sign operator here. Okay, if we pass, for example, the minus sign, okay, so we need to subtract, okay, right? So that we the advantage of having this, of having only one question, is to have to save space, okay, because the only difference is the operator, but the the content, okay, is still the same. Set question is supposed to be what, to return the question, okay, depending on the the operator. So we need to have, so another for the for example, for the division, okay, so we have correct answer is equal to digit 1 divided by digit 2. Now let's try to run first this one. Okay, if we're going to run now, once you click, and then for example, multiplication, we now have the question, how much is 9 times 3? Okay, and take note, the answer field is still uneditable, okay, because in here we have we've declared here set editable false. So meaning once we click this button, okay, after displaying the question, we need to make this answer a field editable. Okay, so what are we going to do? We will put it here. Okay, so answer field that set editable, this time true, to let the user answer the question. Okay, so let's try. Okay, so play, and then again 9 times 4. Okay, so 9, 18, 36, for example. Once you press the enter key, nothing will happen. Why? It's because we're not yet done. Okay, we need to insert a code here in our answer field. Okay, but let's try another button first before we do that. Okay, the add, okay, the subtraction, the division is not yet um, working. It's because again, we don't have any code yet here. Okay, let's try to continue. So let's try to copy this one. Okay, inside of the add button, because it's still it's all the same except for the operator, right? So we will just for example for add, it's a plus sign, a minus sign, and then the forward slash for the division. Okay, and then again, let's try to run. If we are going to run again, okay, this time around we now have 5 plus 5, 8 minus 7, 9 divided by 9. Okay, so it's now all working. Okay, so the user is now ready to answer 8 plus 5. Okay, for example 13. Once you press the enter key, nothing happens. So let's try to solve first the answer field. Okay, first what we're going to do is to get uh, the um, the text from the answer field, okay, by using the answer field that get text. Okay, and then take note that when the user typed in the text field, by default that is a string, so we need to convert from string to integer. That's why we have the integer to parse in, and then we assign to a user a variable, integer variable, user answer. And then after assigning, that's the only time that we need now to compare that a user answer to the correct answer. So we have an if statement here. If a user answer is equal to the correct answer. So this is also the main reason why we declare this a variable outside of the method actionPerformed. That's the main reason why we declare it here, the correct answer here, okay, outside. So that if you're going to use that correct answer inside of this method, the uh, actionPerformed method, okay, we are referring to the same correct answer that we used inside of another method set question. Okay, so that's the main reason. For example, if you assign here digit 1 times digit 2, let's say we have 3 and 5, so 3 times 5, 15. So the value of 15, okay, uh, will be saved to the correct answer, and that correct answer is the same variable that we are referring to in here. Okay, so now let's try to compare. If the user answer is equal to correct answer, what are we going to do? Okay, to save time, let me just paste it here. Okay, remarks field that set foreground color that blue. Okay, we want to change the foreground color of that text, and then remarks field that set text get correct response. Okay, if the user have entered the correct answer, of course we need to have a method, okay, that generates a random, for example, response for correct. Okay, and then the answer field, we want to clear the answer field once we already have entered, okay, of the user have entered the answer. And the right counter field that set text, okay, a right counter, take note that we have a counter, okay, to count the number of times the user answered it correctly. And once the answer is correct, we need to call the set question again to generate another um, what do you call that, to generate another set of a question. Okay, and then we will pass the operator. Okay, now uh, if you have noticed that I declared the operator here in each of the if statements. If you're going to use that operator again, for example, here, okay, for example, if the current value of operator is multiplication, and if the user have entered the correct answer for that multiplication, so we need to save the value of that operator, and to make it possible, just to prevent the logic error, we need to declare, okay, the operator, this is string operator outside. Okay, so control C, and then we will just declare it, this one, outside. Okay, you just have to put it here. Okay, okay, that's it. And then we will just initialize this one to an empty string, for example. Okay, let's go back to our method. Okay, so we also have the right counter plus plus. So we need also to what? We need also to declare the right counter variable and then the wrong counter variable and set to 0 here outside of the method so that we can use it in different methods. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, now we need to have a another method, user-defined method. We need to create a get correct response that generates again the random responses, and we've done this already in our previous episode. So let me just paste it on here. Okay, so just to save time, um, here's the example. Okay, if the answer is correct, we need to call the get correct response, and then every correct, we have now the variable here, right counter plus plus. It will increment by 1 every correct answer, and then I have here the random for, let's say, from 0 to 4. Okay, 0 to 4, depending on the result here. Okay, sometimes the response is excellent, very good, sometimes it's correct, and sometimes that's right. The same thing with the get a wrong response. Okay, instead of excellent, you can just put wrong, sorry, please try again, don't give up, try once more, sorry, and then we return that response to the calling method. Okay, so let's try to finish first the answer field. Now, what about if the user answer is not equal to a correct answer? Okay, so we can just put on else here. Um, okay, take note that if the answer is wrong, uh, we don't need to call set question again. Okay, we let the user answer the same question until he or she gets it right. Okay, so what are we going to do is just we just set the foreground color, for example, to red, and then the remarks field here, we, instead of calling the get correct response, so we call the get wrong response method. Okay, and then we also clear the answer field by using the answer field that set text, and then the double quote, and then the wrong counter field that set text. Okay, um, with an argument a wrong counter plus. Okay, so that's it. So let's try to run first. Okay, the difference. So play, and then okay, how much is 3 times 6? 6, 12, 18. Okay, now if the user enter the correct answer, 18, that is correct. And then another new question. 3 times 0, 0. Okay, that's right. 9 times 6, 5. So sorry, incorrect. Okay, so if it is incorrect, so we now have here, okay, and then 9 times 6, okay, 7, okay, wrong, 9, okay, and then that's it. What is lacking now is we need to have a limit now, okay, take note, we need to have a limit, okay, before we have the exception, okay, we need to set the limit. So we need to add first the game over label, another new label here, okay, and then the restart. Wait. Okay, the restart button and then the exit button, and we will just add that in our container. We will add here the game over label and then the restart button and then the exit button, and we will make that um, button and label set visible false first, and let's try to change the font of the restart button, let's say 60, exit button 60, game over label 95, and then we will have here, if it reaches the limit now, for example, only 10 times, you allow it 10 times, so we will just have to put it here, and then since we use the limit there, let's just try to add one more variable there. Okay, now let's try to run, play, and then for multiplication, okay, for example 7, don't give up, 9, okay, wrong, okay, let's try first, okay, so this one's game over, restart, exit, exit, restart, okay, we need to add more events from there. Okay, as you can see, 8, okay, okay, 6, enter. If you want to center this one, don't give up, okay, what are we going to do? Okay, we need to add here for the remarks field that set horizontal alignment JTextField center, and then wrong counter field that set horizontal alignment JTextField. By default, the horizontal alignment of JTextField is left. So that's why we only modify the wrong counter, not the correct counter field. Let's try again for GUI. So play, okay, multiplication, addition, subtraction, then for example 0 minus 9 for example is 0, okay, 0 minus 9, 0, wrong, okay, you still have logic error there. 5 minus 7, 5 minus 7, 4, okay, wrong, 5 minus 7, negative 2, okay, very good. 4 minus 9, 4 minus 9, for example, negative 5. Okay, correct. 0. So, and then let's try to have 10. If it reaches 10, okay, game over. Let's try to modify the game over. Let's try to add the game over here, set foreground color orange. And then for the restart button, let's try to have here 1, 2, or here. Just put it here. For the restart button, okay, we need to call the math quiz GUI again, set visible false. And for the exit button, okay, for example, we need to have system.exit. So math quiz game 2. That's set visible true. Try to run. Again, so play. Sorry, it's a math quiz game 2. Okay, that is game 2. Try to run again. Play. Okay, multiplication, 8 times 0, 9. Okay, 4. Okay, 0. Excellent. 0. Okay, once it reaches 10, game over. And then restart. Okay, the restart, we need to register for event handling. Okay, because we already have the code for the restart and exit button. We will be needing this. Okay, restart. Okay, let's add here restart button that add action listener this, exit button that add action listener this. Let's try to run again. Okay, play. Multiplication, wrong, 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 and wrong, and wrong, wrong, and wrong. Okay, game over. Restart, play. Okay, addition. 8, 8, 7, okay, 4, 5, wrong, and then, sorry, right, 10, okay, and then this time exit. Okay, there you go. And then, I have some modification with the division because just to avoid the division by 0. So what I did was I just okay, so here before we assign the correct answer, for example, I just added this condition. If a digit 1 is equal to 0, so it will add 1 to the digit 1, and then same with the digit 2. Okay, if a digit 2 is equal to 0, we'll also add digit 1 to the digit 2. Else, if digit 2 is equal to 0, digit 2 plus plus. Okay, so that's what I did here, and then that's the time just to make sure that the 0 here is not possible as value of digit 1 digit 2 for the division. Okay, so that's it. Let's try again. Okay, if it's working correctly now, play. So addition, 9 plus 2, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 0 plus 5 is 5. 2 plus 5 is 10. Okay, and then 2 plus 5 is 10. Of course, it's wrong. 2 plus 5, 7. 8 plus 6. For example, 7. Still wrong. Okay, 8 plus 6, 14. Excellent. 5 plus 0, 5. 5 plus 5, 10. Okay, 0 plus 9, 9. Okay, divide. 1 divided by, okay, 1 and 1. So, what's lacking is, let's try to just change the color. Okay, green for subtraction, plus for addition, blue for multiplication. Okay, we will just add, okay, for example, for multiplication, it's blue. Okay, for addition, we need to change the question label. The foreground is red. Okay, for the subtraction, for example, it's green. And for the division, it's yellow. Yes, yellow. Okay, let's run again. Play. Okay, how much is 3 divided by 8? Say 9. Okay, 3 divided by 8 is 0. Okay, awesome. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Correct. 1 divided by 2 is 0. 2 divided by 8, again is 0. 2 divided by 6, 0. 6 divided by 5, 1. 1 divided by 7, for example, 3. Don't give up. Wrong. Let's try to input wrong. Here also wrong. Okay, it's functioning correctly. Okay, don't give up. Then let's try to finish this. Game over. Okay. plus 0 plus 0, 0. 5 times 8, for example, 40. Correct. Green, 3 minus 8, negative 5. Okay, very good. 1 minus 0 is 1. Very good. 3 minus 6, 0. Sorry, please try again. Okay, and this time we need to exit. Okay, exit. That's it. And that's all for today. And if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And as always, show your love through comments and favorites. God bless and thank you for watching.